Hello. Today it is really hot outside, and I think it's 100 degrees, something like this, in Illinois, which is really hot. And I am thinking about color and bright color. And as you can see, I've got a mandala out and I've got some colors. So I thought it would be fun, since I'm looking out my front window, since it is so hot outside, that we would do color, but inside, and try and get into a more quiet space, even though the world seems very hot right now. So for me, the best remedy when the outer is kind of triggering me, and I don't like that word, trigger. When the outer world is evoking feelings in me that are uncomfortable, how about that? And instead of running away from those feelings and trying to do something to get rid of them, I usually sit down and do something like this, which is drawing. You could do journaling. Some people play solitaire. My grandma knitted. There's so many different things that can be done, but meditation, that is a little step beyond this, though. I find this to be meditative, but not in the sense of sitting and no thoughts and being present. Look, see? There, being present, Jack. God. I know, every time. He never sits, except when I do videos or draw, then that this is the spot. So I wanted to go into the drawing that you're seeing on your screen. This is a mandala that I did. I still have 50 mandalas yet to go in my 100 mandala practice, and I will get there, but I've had forests come in between me and other things I've been working on in drawing. So this I have up on my website. It's janetbalboa.com, and I'm working on it. It's my WordPress site, so forgive me for it kind of being funky. But if you go to the page, janetbalboa.com, you'll see coloring pages. And this mandala is there with 3 others. It's a PDF file, or I think it's a JPEG, and just download it. Printed it on heavy cardstock, so it's not going to bleed through with the markers. Okay, so let's get into that. I'm going to make myself a little smaller here. There we go. Okay, so what I've done with the coffee cup is I picked a light, a medium, and a dark. So here's a light, here's a medium, here's a dark in colored pencil. These are Prismacolors. It's really going to be whatever colors you like. It's just helpful to get a light, a medium, and a dark. I'm also sharpening to about that level of sharpness. This dark is, I'm trying to read the name. It is grass green, a little bit on the blue side of greens. It's not an olive green. And the reason I picked that is because I'm trying to stay, as you can see, very yellow, very green, and the same thing with the Sharpies. I have Copic markers and I have Prismacolors. I think the Sharpies work great. The only thing is they're not light fast, but neither are the other markers. So if you really like your finished drawing, like this is one that I finished, if you really like it, then have a print made of it. Go to UPS or wherever you get copies made and have it copied. You can even have it made into a card. So, like give out your own birthday cards. That would be really cool. So what I'm doing right now is on here, this is my light. So I'm doing a box of color just to see. And because I'm not using a lot of colors, I'm just going to put the marker right below it. Normally I would write out the names if it were really a complex drawing. But since I can see the colors, it's going to light, medium, and dark. And I'm in between these 2 colors. I think I'm just going to go with this, just sight alone. I kind of like that, not quite as bright green, a little bit more drab. Okay, so that is going to be my light, medium, dark in Sharpie land. And then in colored pencil, here's my light. That's that one, the medium. Oh, Jackie, don't fall. That always scratches. Great. And this is my dark. So that's it. And I would do that for every color set. If you have blues that you're going to use, do a light, medium, and dark. Same thing with reds. And also remember, because in marker world, if you have a dark red, you can always lighten that by putting a bit of white on top of it, or a bit of a white base color, and that'll give you that lightness too. You don't always have to get a different color by another marker kind of thing. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to color in one of these big circles. So I'm not really being super picky about laying the color down. The beautiful thing about black is you can go right over it. I'm not worried so much about filling in every single space. All right. So we'll just go about this far. But my recommendation would be, if you were doing this for realsies, and when you're done, like with the video part, I would color in everything, like everything on here that is those big loops that's yellow, color it in, because when it gets really complex, a lot of times I found I would forget where I had colored, and then I'd have to go rematch the color. Plus, it kind of, the point of the mandala is that slow progression where you can keep doing the same things so you fall into a repetitive pattern of thought. That's what makes the magic. You kind of check yourself out purposefully when you get lost in the coloring, especially on one that's already done and been drawn like this. You want to just lose yourself in coloring, because that is the unhooking of that analytical thinking brain. So when I'm drawing this and when you're learning this, we're both thinking right now and learning. I'm learning how to film. I'm learning how to color with my phone as a camera. All these things are new to me. So this is not relaxing and fun like it would be if I were sat at my desk doing it. But I'm working on getting it that way, because I'm loving sharing these videos. And this is kind of what makes me get up in the morning now, is like, oh my God, I can learn something that just makes me happy. But there's always that level of incompetence. Every day is a day of failure, which is good though. I know I'm learning, right? So that's the deal. Message, do it all the way around. Get yourself into that lovely state. But first, I do want to show you how to shade so it looks really cool. So now I'm going to take my medium Sharpie. I'm pointing down here, but you can't see. So this is my medium Sharpie. And I'm just going to, no, let's say I'll go right in here. So up in this top area, and as you can see, I'm not really putting the color down solid. I'm just kind of streaking it through. And then I'm going to go with my dark Sharpie, and then just in the center section, say, I'm going to put that in streaks. Let me see if I can get a bit closer on this. That looks streaky right down in here, and that's all right. Because once you get that kind of laying in, even if you went through and did more in the Sharpies, what you're going to do is you're going to take your light, your medium, and your dark. I'm going to go in with the light first. And I'm just going to go over this yellow a little bit. And I'm going to bring it up and merge it into this light green that I just did with the Sharpie. I'm going to go back down to about that same spot over here. And I'm doing circles, and I'm just putting that color down. I'm not pressing super hard. So this would be a hard press, right? That's pressing super hard. I'm not. I'm just lightly going over it so that I can slowly build this color up. And if I had to, I can get in there and erase it out a little bit, and it's not too dark. So I'm making a gradient blend that's going to go from yellow to this light green up to this dark green. And the reason why I'm doing it in these light layers is I subtly want that to start building. That was my light green. I'm going to go to my medium. This is where I started. I'm going to come right above maybe where this hits, because I kind of want to make that ring stand out a bit. So I'm going to start my darker right about here. Still coming up, coloring everything over those previous colors. The yellow of the Sharpie kind of acts as turning the color of the paper away from white to yellow. So that's what I use the markers for. I think of those as just tipping the color of my paper more in the direction I want to go. So I like the way this is now kind of making this stand out more already than just that yellow did. So now I'm going to go in with my dark green, and I just want that subtle kind of, I really want to make this flower pop. So right above that, I'm just going to put, you can see I'm starting to do circles, but you can see as I'm doing it, it's creating that darkness just at that point. And I'm really just very softly blending this out. So if I did this, again, I'm doing circles, and by going over it many times, I'm able to get to dark rather than this. Once I get here, this is almost black. I can't really build on this, but when I keep doing this, even if I get to this level of darkness with it, I've left open the availability that if I needed to, I would go back with my medium, but I can blend this medium right into that and still get a lovely mix of colors. Whereas with this, there's no chance. It's dark. So just be really light. That's kind of the hardest thing to learn. You can have these bright, great colors, but I would only commit when you know for sure that that's where you want that dark color to go. So like right now, I know right here, I want that dark color. So I am pressing really hard through this center, shutting out the options for all the other colors there. And then I'm just going to go blend this with my mid-tone. I'm going to slap you right over that because all I'm doing is pulling that dark green out. Here's my dark, moving it into that light. So there's about 3 layers of color. So that's giving me that really nice gradient around here. This is my light. I'm going in, I'm pushing it. Now I know I want this a bit darker because here's my lightest area. So now I'm going in and I'm just pressing a bit harder on that. So that gives me kind of this nice color change through it. So I'm just going to slip over here and I'm going to do that same thing over here again. So I went in with the Sharpie and just kind of plowed in this light. This is a Sharpie. It's, I think in the, I don't know, they come out with a different style. I think this is 80s Glam is the name of this Sharpie pack that these came in. So that was my light. I go to my medium, and now because I know that that's about where it's going to go, I can actually pull that up from about here. You saw me headed down that way. That was a mistake, right? So going up to here, and I know it's going to come up to here, so now I can commit with confidence that medium all the way up here. So like that. Same thing over here. So my dark Sharpie, look at how much dark I got up there. So now I know roughly I went circular, and I'm just going to fan it out. Whereas on the first one, I wouldn't have gone that dark because I would have worried that it was too dark. But now that I get the hang of it, I'm like, okay, not too dark. That's how you speed up. So I'm going to take this as my light color here. So I can press now pretty hard because I know I don't have to build this up. I can just actually put it down. It's going to come all the way up here. It's going to give me a good base for blending my medium color over. So going back down, just filling in over that yellow. I'm going to pick up my medium, and that's going to start about right here. So circles again, just bringing that up to the center. You can see how that's almost matching now that dark green that I put down. I'm going to kind of draw that line, and you can see I'm actually drawing a line across there. You really won't see it, but visually it kind of looks cool. Like your eye will stop there, even though it won't be a hard stop, like as if that were a line. All right, then I go back in with the dark green. And I know that started kind of this circle shape, so I want to keep that. And one thing that just happened here is I scooted along the edge, and I really, really like that. So now here's some change that I'm going to put in. And this is how these things evolve and how they grow organically. I'm going to go ahead. I put a line in along here. I was talking about putting a light line here. All I'm going to do is little circles. I'm not doing this kind of line. I'm pulling a line. It's a super light. Again, always allowing for erasing, right? Because that's how you get lightness back, is erasing. It's not about mistakes. It's about getting light back. So right here, can you see what's happening as I'm putting in this green line? So this one has a green line along it. This one doesn't. And it looks different. It really makes this one's white and the background here is white. So when I put this line in here, it almost looks like a drop shadow, and it's making this thing pop up. So that makes it almost like a ledge. So I kind of like that. So I'm just going to leave that in subtly. Every time I put a line in, I'm going in. That was my dark that I put the line in. I'm backing out of it with medium because it's a gradient blend still, dark, medium, light. And then I'm going in with my light and just smashing it all down. And that's blending it. I'm even going over this because I really want that nice sweet gradient. I'm looking at this. I'm just going over this with my light green. You can see I'm building up a lot of wax here. So it's a good idea to have a brush or blow on it, but just don't do this because then that can smear. But that's the idea of starting out to get a gradient blend. It just, these are your paper changers. Think about the markers as you're changing your paper from white to whatever color you're heading in. I always test them out first. Sharpies are not always what they look like on the outside. They can be very different, and what you think is a dark green can be a light green. Mistakes learned. And then colored pencils. These are Prismacolors. These work great. I would imagine any kind. I just have tons of these laying around, so this is what I use. Crayola ones are probably okay. The more expensive ones that you get, the more light fast they tend to be. Prismacolor won't rate their light fastness, so no one knows if they are or if they aren't. To me, if they don't rate them, it makes me think that they aren't light fast, but who knows? This anyways, because of the marker, isn't going to be light fast. So whatever you do on this, if you hang it up, it's going to fade even faster than a regular print. So like I said, I would just go take this into your local printer and have a scan made of it and a print. And that would be so cool if you gave a card away. Even if you did it, I don't know, wouldn't it be cool to do a card with like markers in with it? That would be fun. Okay, well, that is shading a little bit of fun and color for today. And when you do this, just do the whole thing around. And when you get done with all the yellows and the greens, then look back and see, okay, what about this center color? And see how that is the background of this whole interior space. These are white background in the flowers. These are black. So as you start playing with this and looking with it, you're going to understand your color setup. If you look on my website too, I put a picture, 1, 2, 3, 6, I think there's 9 that I put that are colored. So you can see what a bunch of us did when we colored these. Whole bunch of ages, and it's cool. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate the comments, and please keep sending me the root areas of trees. I still have my fascination with the cathedral tops and the way those trees just ground themselves in. For me, that connection of soul and body, super fascinating to me right now. Have a great day or night.